Let's put the excuse on the table. You're not waiting for clarity. You're waiting for approval. You're waiting for the right time. You're waiting for the right people to agree. That's why you keep asking. You're not waiting for confirmation. You're waiting for somebody to make your courage feel safe. And that is the problem. Because some of you already know what needs to happen. You know the move. You know the decision. You know the conversation. You know the standard you need to raise. You know the version of yourself you keep avoiding. But you keep standing at the edge of the next level, looking back at people who never had to carry your conviction, hoping they'll tell you it's okay. It's okay to move. No. Let's cut that clean today. You do not need permission. You need a backbone. Welcome back to the Eminence Legacy podcast. I'm Jose Luis Cadena, and this one is for the legacy builders who keep calling hesitation wisdom. When deep down, they know it's fear dressed up in a respectable language. This is not a motivational episode. This is not me telling you to believe in yourself and go chase your dreams while a dramatic music plays in the background. No. Today, we are dealing with the hidden agreement a lot of people are living under. I'll become who I'm supposed to be as long as nobody important to me gets uncomfortable. That agreement is killing the momentum. It's killing obedience. It's killing standards. And for some of you, it's killing your future quietly. So let's get into this. Most people don't say, I'm waiting for permission. Of course not. You wouldn't say that. That sounds too weak. So, what do? It gets dressed up. And it sounds something like this. I'm praying about it. I'm just being wise. I'm waiting for the right season. I don't want to move too fast. I'm still thinking. I'm trying to make sure everyone understands. And sometimes that's true. Sometimes patience is wisdom. Sometimes waiting in obedience is what you need to do. Sometimes counsel is necessary. But let's not lie. Sometimes I'm praying about it. It's just fear with church clothes on. Sometimes I'm waiting on the right time means I don't want to deal with the tension that comes with the growth. Sometimes I'm being wise means I'm scared of being judged. If I move and it doesn't work, and sometimes I'm thinking about it means I already know the truth. But I'm hoping delay will make obedience easier. That's where we are today. Not in your lack of talent, not in your lack of potential, not in your lack of ideas. We're dealing with the fact that you keep handing your future to people who are emotionally invested in your old version. And then you wonder why you're stuck. Let me say it straight. Stop letting people who benefit from your silence vote on your voice. Stop letting people who benefit from your availability vote on your boundaries. Stop letting people who benefit from your insecurity vote on your confidence. Stop letting people who benefit from your old version vote on your future. Because if they profit from who you used to be, hey, don't be surprised when they resist who you're becoming. Not everyone resisting your growth isn't your enemy. But not everyone questioning your growth is qualified to lead it either. You better learn the difference, because if you don't, you will spend your life being managed by people who never built what you are trying to build. And that is not humility. That is captivity with manners. Here's a part that's going to bother some people. Hey, I get it. Some of you don't want permission. What you're really looking for is a co-signer. You want somebody else to approve the move. So if it fails, you don't have to fully own it. You don't want to own up to it if it does. You want to say, well, they told me it was okay. They supported it. They agreed. They thought it made sense. That way, if the move costs you something, hey, you could share the blame. No, legacy builders do not outsource ownership. If it's your calling, own it. If it's your standard, own it. If it's your conviction, own it. If it's your next move, own it. Stop trying to make everybody else responsible for the courage you refuse to carry. That may sound hard. Good. Some truth is supposed to hit. The part of you that keeps negotiating with weakness. The first thing we need to settle is this. Approval is not assignment. Just because someone does not understand your next move does not mean your next move is wrong. People can love you and still not have the capacity to recognize what is being built in you. People can care about you and still prefer the version of you that benefits them most. People can support you until your growth starts requiring them to lose access to the old arrangement. That is real. And if you confuse approval with assignment, you will keep handing your future to people who only recognize your past. And that's dangerous, because your past is familiar to people. Your future is not. Your past is easier to explain. Your future requires faith. Your past makes people comfortable. Your future may force them to adjust. So if you wait until everyone around you feels comfortable with who you're becoming, you may never move. Take counsel. Stay humble. Listen to wisdom. But don't confuse wisdom with fear wearing an older voice. There's a difference. Wise counsel sharpens your assignment. Fearful counsel suffocates it. Wise counsel asks hard questions. Fearful counsel kills movement. Wise counsel helps you mature. Fearful counsel keeps you manageable. Learn the difference. Because if you don't, you will keep calling hesitation discernment. Let me stop you right here. Some of you already know. That's the part that makes this uncomfortable. You already know. You know what needs to change. You know where you have been playing small. You know where you have been waiting for a room full of comfortable people to celebrate a decision that will make them uncomfortable. And that is not going to happen fast. For some of them, it may not happen at all. So what are you going to do? Keep waiting? Keep shrinking? Keep asking people who never moved with courage to approve yours? Come on. At some point, you have to stop asking for a green light from people who were never driving in your direction. That is not disrespect. That is reality. See, here's the thing. Legacy requires a backbone, not arrogance. A backbone. There's a difference. Arrogance says, I don't need anybody. Backbone says, I can love people without letting their discomfort lead me. Arrogance refuses correction. Backbone refuses captivity. Arrogance performs strength. Backbone walks in conviction. And some of you have confused humility with emotional dependency. You think being humble means constantly asking, is this okay? Do you approve? Are you upset? Do you still like me? Are we good? No. No, humility is not shrinking so other people feel bigger. Humility is standing in truth without needing to be worshipped for it. You can be humble and decisive. You could be humble and courageous. You can be kind and firm. You can be respectful and still refuse to stay trapped. You can love people and still stop letting them hold the pen while your life is being written. That is maturity. Because legacy is not built by someone who needs applause before action. Legacy is built by people who move with conviction, even when the room gets quiet. So let's bring this to a close. Where are you still asking for permission? Not out loud, internally. Where are you waiting for approval before you move? Where are you shrinking the vision because people around you might not understand? Where are you delaying obedience because you don't want to lose familiar approval? Where are you calling it patience when it's really fear of being judged? Where are you calling it wisdom when it's really fear of disappointing people? And who did you secretly make the gatekeeper of your future? That one matters, because some of you are grown, but still living like somebody else has to sign off on who you're becoming. You have bills, responsibility, experience, scars, lessons, vision, calling. But emotionally, you are still standing there like a kid, waiting for someone to say, you can go now. No. You're no longer a child anymore. Stop begging people to authorize a life they are not responsible for living. Here's the part people don't like. Becoming will cost you misunderstandings. Not always rejection, not always betrayal, but misunderstandings. Some people won't understand why you changed. Some people won't understand why your standards shifted. Some won't understand why you are not as available as you used to be. Some won't understand why you're taking your life more seriously. Some won't understand why you don't laugh at the same things anymore. Some won't understand why you're moving different. And that's okay, because understanding is not always required for obedience. If you wait until everybody understands, you will still be waiting when your moment passes. And let me add this. Some people do not want you to grow. Some people don't want you to succeed. Not because they hate you, but because the version of you that had no standards was easier to access. The version of you that had no boundaries was easier to use. The version of you that doubted yourself was easier to influence. The version of you that needed approval was easier to control. So when you start standing different, walking different, talking different, do not be shocked when people start acting different. Your growth changes the arrangement. And everybody who benefits from the old arrangement will not celebrate the new one. That doesn't mean stop loving people. That doesn't mean to cut them off completely. It means stop needing them to clap while you're becoming free. There are moments where God will call you forward before people are ready to understand what He is doing in you. And that is where the faith gets tested. Not when everybody claps, not when the room agrees, not when the plan looks safe. Faith gets tested when obedience makes you look different. Obedience before faith. Before it makes you look successful. And some of you keep asking for another sign, another confirmation, another open door, another word, another person to agree. But at some point, another confirmation becomes procrastination with a spiritual language. You already know when you are waiting in wisdom, and you already know when you are hiding. Let's not play games with that, because delayed obedience can sound holy, when really it's just fear trying to avoid the bill. Your assignment will never fully fit inside everyone else's comfort zone. So stop trying to make it small enough for them to approve. So what do? You do not move recklessly. You do not ignore wisdom. You do not cut everybody off because they asked you questions. You grow up. You get clear. You move with discipline. And here's the move. Number 1, separate counsel from permission. Counsel informs you. Permission controls you. Counsel says, think this through. Permission says, don't move unless I agree. Counsel sharpens your decision. Permission replaces your decision. You need counsel. You do not need emotional captivity. Number 2, make one decision without needing applause. Not a public announcement, not a dramatic post, not a speech. One decision, one disciplined move, one boundary, one commitment. One action that proves you are not waiting for the crowd anymore. Because every time you move from conviction, you weaken the addiction to approval. Number 3. Let the fruit speak. Stop arguing with people who only believe growth after it becomes visible. Build. Stay consistent. Let your habits preach. Let your discipline testify. Let your peace explain what your words could not. Because fruit has a language. And eventually, what people question, they may have to respect. But even if they never do, you still have to build. Legacy builders, this is your checkpoint. Where have you been waiting for someone to approve what conviction already revealed? Where have you let fear of misunderstanding slow you down on your obedience? Where have you been loyal to an old version of yourself because people around you still prefer it? Where have you been asking people who never had your vision to validate your direction? And what is one move you can make this week, quietly, clearly, without needing applause? That is where this starts. Not with noise, with movement. Because a version of you that keeps waiting for permission will always be late to the life you were called to be. You're the only one taking away from your blessings. Before we close, if this episode found you in a place you have been avoiding, don't just nod and disappear. If you are listening to this on a web browser or a link someone texted you, don't let this be a temporary visit. Make sure to hit the follow right now on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Legacy builders do not just visit truth, they stay connected to it. And if this message made you think of someone, send it to them. No explanation needed. Just send it and say, listen to this one. Because somebody you know is still waiting for permission. Permission to become who they already know they are. And this Thursday, lock in with Midnight Questions. It's a different rhythm. Same truth. Quiet room. Deeper mirror. That's where we deal with the questions people usually avoid when the world gets quiet. Don't miss it. Let's lock this in. Approval is not assignment. Being understood is not always required for obedience. Humility is not shrinking so other people can stay comfortable. That's not what it is. And legacy cannot be built by someone still begging to be liked. So take counsel. Stay humble. Use wisdom. But stop handing your future to people who only recognize your past. You do not need everybody to agree. Before you become who you were called to be. There are things we are building that I'm not going to explain yet. Not because there is no direction, because sometimes you do not announce the blueprint while the foundation is still being poured. But I will say this. The standard is rising. The room is getting sharper. The message is getting heavier. And the people who are tired of asking for permission are going to feel the pull. So stay close. Follow the podcast. Lock in on Thursdays for Midnight Questions. And don't just listen. Listen like your next version is trying to get your attention. This is the Eminence Legacy Podcast. I'm Jose Luis Cadena. And remember, together, let's rise to our eminence. Catch you in the next one. This episode of Eminence Legacy podcast is brought to you by FE26 Legion. Built for disciplined, not the distracted. Every FE26 design is released for a limited season and then retired into the vault. No restocks, no reruns. If you're wearing FE26, it's not because you followed a trend. It's because you live by a standard. Find the current season at fe26legion.com. Discipline remains, the Legion endures.